Orange is the New Black and other stories have glamorized women in prison, but they also highlight the realities that these women confront while imprisoned in the government's court system, and we're sharing all that shocking information in today's video only at Discovery Unraveled. Women jailed behind bars frequently experience significantly more atrocities, such as poor treatment and sexual abuse when they are imprisoned. Female prisoners are sometimes treated with significantly less respect and may not always receive the appropriate medical attention. These women are usually scarred for life. A life behind bars is merely a terrifying concept for some of us. Others, though, have been through or are currently experiencing that life. If incarceration can be the end for most people, it can be far worse for women. According to studies, women face harsher punishments in the U.S. criminal justice system than men. This is just one of the thousands of examples of women getting the short end of the stick. Despite various jail changes implemented in recent years, the number of women in custody is expanding faster than men. Here are 5 startling facts regarding life in women's jails. Giving birth. In reality, whether in labor or giving birth to a newborn child, jailed women are treated the worst. These ladies require the most attention, although in most states throughout, women in prison were frequently forced to give birth while shackled or restrained. No one needs more sensitive, loving care than a woman in labor, but incarcerated women are first and foremost prisoners, then mothers. They can be shackled while giving birth in 30 U.S. states, a practice denounced by the ACLU and other health organizations. According to Amnesty International, it is a violation of human rights. Binding a woman during labor causes a slew of issues for the mother, child, and physician. In reality, jailed women receive the poorest treatment when in labor or giving birth to a newborn child. These ladies require the most treatment, despite the fact that in most states, women in prison were frequently forced to give birth while restricted or shackled. Even when the birth was simple, women were frequently made to undergo the agony and humiliation of being shackled during childbirth. Despite several protests and lawsuits, this practice persisted long into the 20th century. The U.S. merely handcuffs them and ignores their misery and suffering. Some states provide programs that allow mothers to care for their infants while incarcerated, usually for non-violent offenders with short terms. The programs range in duration from 1 month to 3 years and have consistently shown excellent effects. Next up, we've got another shocking fact about the healthcare setup in prison for women. Healthcare. The large surge of women in jail has put the system in disarray, with facilities woefully unprepared to address the special health issues that women face. Regular gynecological treatment and mammograms are frequently unavailable, which means that women in prison commonly succumb to diseases like cervical cancer, which is often successfully treated if diagnosed early with a Pap screening. Women in jail have a considerably greater rate of substance addiction problems and communicable diseases like HIV and hepatitis C than men, which is commonly owing to a history of trading sex for drugs. Women are also more prone to a variety of chronic diseases, including varicose veins, constipation, anemia, urinary tract infections, and headaches. They even outnumber incarcerated men in terms of mental health difficulties, as they are frequently the victims of lifetime abuse. However, the vast majority of women detained are poor, and they had little to no access to health care even before they were imprisoned. Another issue that women in jail encounter on a regular basis is coping with their period. Having your period isn't a huge deal when you're not locked up, yet if you're locked up, it can be a very difficult problem to deal with. To begin with, jails are renowned for having a scarcity of sanitary pads and tampons available to female detainees, and to make matters worse, guards frequently use them to coerce obedience. Depriving women of such fundamental necessities is a terrible way of undermining their dignity, and there is nothing they can do about it, especially if it's purposeful. Regrettably, guards using menstrual cycles as a technique of punishing women behind prison is something that happens more often than you would expect. If you've been moved by what you've gotten to know today and want to make a difference, consider volunteering at a women's prison or donating to an organization that supports female inmates. Also, please like, comment, and share this information and subscribe to Discovery Unraveled. And remember, orange may be the new black, but it's definitely not the fashion trend. Moving on, let's talk about the abuse that women face in prison. Assault. Women in jail experience a variety of physical and psychological abuses. The following are some of the most prevalent assaults on women in prison. Sexual assault. Women in jail face a significant risk of sexual assault both from other convicts and from prison officials. Men guards have been accused of raping female convicts, and women have also been sexually abused by other inmates. Unfortunately, almost 40% of guards in American women's jails are men. In some states, the figure is significantly higher. As a result, atrocities such as beatings and rape are all too common. Physical assault. Women in prison may also risk physical assault, such as beatings and attacks by other convicts. This can result in severe injuries as well as long-term physical and emotional trauma. Verbal assault. Women in women's prisons are frequently exposed to name-calling, harassment, and other forms of verbal abuse. This can create a hostile environment and add to the mental health problems that many female convicts endure. Psychological assault. Women in jail are also at risk of psychological assault, which includes seclusion, deprivation, and other forms of psychological abuse. Depression, anxiety, and other mental health concerns might result from this. Systemic assault. The nature of the prison system itself can be viewed as a sort of assault on women, as it robs them of their autonomy, independence, and basic human rights. Strip searches, solitary confinement, and other types of dehumanization may be used against women in jail. Let us walk you through another shocking fact about female prisons. Increasing incarceration rate for women. The incarceration rate in the United States is a worldwide farce. It is higher than in any other country, even questionable regimes like Russia and China. Despite these staggering figures, women are the fastest growing prison population in the United States. Women's prisons did not even exist 2 centuries ago, but today over 1 million women are incarcerated in the criminal justice system. The figures are genuinely mind-boggling. Between 1980 and 2006, the number of women in prison increased by an order of magnitude. Minorities make up 2/3 of all incarcerated women, making the situation even worse. Quickly diving into the last outrageous fact about women's prison. Family displacement. Tragically, many women incarcerated were primary carers for their children. When they are locked up, their families have limited options. The lucky ones are put with relatives, but the majority of the time, the children are placed in foster care. Many of these youngsters will never see their mothers again. The Federal Adoption and Safe Families Act, adopted in 1997, compels states to terminate parental rights for children who've been in foster care for at least 15 of the previous 22 months, freeing them up for adoption. The average minimum sentence for women incarcerated is 36 months. Moreover, because women's institutions are relatively rare, they're sometimes located so far away from home that families find it difficult, if not impossible, to attend. Separation from loved ones has minimal effect on convicts' attitudes or reintegration into society. Thank you for tuning in. Before you leave, consider how you can make a difference in your neighborhood or around the world. Share your opinions in the comments section below, and let's work together to make a difference. Please remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe to our channel for such interesting videos.